Alright, so of course my eyelids are primed already because once again, as I say every video, I use my Holy Grail product, which is the Nars Soft Matte Concealer. Again, mine is in medium dark 1 biscuit, and honestly you guys, I've hit pan a long time ago on this concealer, but it's still holding on strong. But I do love to use that to prime my lids, so we are going to start with our eyeshadow today. I have 2 new things I want to use for the eyes, or actually I have more than 2, but we're going to start with these 2 first. I have the Crown All Eyes on You 5-piece brush set. Now this is supposed to be vegan, cruelty free, and it's supposed to be synthetic fibers on these brushes. So it comes with 5 different ones, but of course I will use other brushes as well. But I have not used these yet, so I wanted to pull them out for today's video. So this is what they look like outside of the packaging. Just your standard blending brushes and such. So we have, again, 5 different brushes. They don't really look too interesting, if I'm being totally honest, but we're going to use them and see how they work with today's shadow. Now today's palette of choice is also new. You guys, if you've seen any of my previous videos, especially of me trying out new products, then you guys know I'm a fan of the new collection by Colourpop, which I'm pretty sure Colourpop has probably came out with a new collection at this point. But this is the one I'm going to be using today. This is Baroque, if I'm saying that correctly, and this is more on the cool tone side when it comes to colors and shadows. Definitely pulls cool tone and definitely that gray undertone-ish or whatever. So I think that'll go perfect with like this little jean top I have on. So we're definitely going to play in something different. This is not really my speed, but I want to test out new things. So we're going to go ahead and play with this. And like I said, we are going to be incorporating the Crown brushes. So just like the other palette, the shadow names are on the back of the packaging, but it's also on the back of the actual packaging, and they even went a step further to put them in the inside as well, which is great. I love when shade names are directly on the palette itself and not in the back or anywhere else, because it just makes it so much simpler and easier to let you guys know what shadows and shades I'm using. So I think I'm first gonna start with something in my crease, and I think I'm gonna put a little bit of Bebe, which is this one right here, and I'm just gonna blend and buff a little bit of that into the crease. Not so much as a transition color, because in my honest opinion there isn't really a transition shade in this palette, but we're just gonna go all out and start with this shadow. So I am being very light-handed with the shadow, just because I know the previous palette that I used from them within the same line was definitely very pigmented. The pigment was there, no question about it. So I really want to take my time with this, just because it is a lot more cool tone, something that's not really in my comfort zone, and I just don't want to go overboard. So very little at a time. I probably dipped into the pan maybe like twice at this point, but I'm just going to work on blending this out. I feel like the shadow only looks as good as you blend it, if that makes sense. So just really taking my time and building this up slightly, but not too much. So now that I have that, I want to take a little bit of the shade called Bougie, which is the lightest shade in the palette, this one over here. It looks a little whitish on camera, but it's like a baby blue, if you will, maybe even lighter than that. And I'm actually going to use one of the brushes from the Crown set, which is like this blending brush. And I'm going to dip my brush into there, and then I'm just going to use this just to help further blend and lighten up that crease shade that we used. And as I'm putting it on, I am realizing it does come off a little like chalky, if you will. Like that's just basically what the color looks like. So I'm not going to put too much of this. Again, just dipping into the pan once, brushing it over top just to help further blend everything. I don't think I really like what it's doing to the shadow, so I'm just gonna do the same thing over here just to make it even, so that things don't start looking different on each eye. And then we'll go back in with just a little bit more of that first shadow. So before things get too crazy and out of control, I do want to now take a little bit of Stunner, which is this shadow right here. It looks like a pretty deep purple blue toned shade, and I'm gonna start packing this on my outer corner, just just very lightly. And I am using another crown brush. I don't know which one this is in specific because they don't have names. The blender brush is just really easy to determine which one that is, but it's almost like a flat brush, but it's not too flat. It has a little fluff to it. And I'm just using it to pack this color on out here. From the looks of it, I think this eye look is gonna be quite smoky. This one has some strong pigmentation, and I really do like the color, honestly. So for this shadow, I just want to focus it on the outer corner and just work on buffing and blending it out so I can start creating not really a halo eye, but just some definition in the outer corner, and just really working on smoking this shadow and this look completely out. So for the shimmer shadow that's going to be on the inner part of the lid, we have about 3, 4, 5 different options in this palette. I think I'm going to go for the one in the center, which is Noble, and it's kind of like a purple blue shift to it. So I'm going to go in with that just to see what that's looking like. Hopefully we don't have to switch it up again, but this is the one that I think I want to go for. So without spraying my brush or anything like that, I'm just pressing the shadow on my lid where I see fit. I'm just gonna cover this front half. Now this shadow, from what I can see, doesn't seem to be anything too intense, but truthfully I kind of like that vibe right now, just because I'm working with shadows again that I'm not really familiar with, you know, and this to me just, it looks good on its own. I mean, I feel like you can add a little something extra. Maybe we'll go in with a second shimmer on top just to intensify it a little bit more, but so far I do like the way this shimmer shade is going onto the lid and is blending in with the matte shadow on the outer corner. So there is a darker like purple shadow in the palette called Lounge, which is over here on the corner, and I want to take that shadow and apply a small amount on a small blending brush in the outer corner just for a little bit more depth. Just kind of smoke it on the lowest part of the outer corner, just to bring a little extra dimension, something extra to the look, and also so that we could play around with yet another shadow. So this look is definitely giving me Galaxy vibes, and I'm not even upset about that. I like the way it's going so far. So far so good. Everything is lining up and we're in a good space. So we're going to finish off the eyes with some mascara and lashes. I have 2 new products, well technically 3 new products to use. First being the mascara. This is the It's So Big Mascara from Elizabeth Mott. I did receive this in BoxyCharm. I don't remember what month, but definitely received it, haven't used it, so I figured why not go ahead and try it out today. So this is supposed to be a volumizing mascara, and the wand just looks like this, which is like your standard wand for the most part. It somewhat has like that hourglass figure, but we'll see how it works. So I'm gonna apply a generous coat of this, even though again I am doing falsies. So I'm just going to coat my lashes. So from what I can see, it is adding a little bit of volume to my lashes. I don't know if you guys can tell. I am going to be putting falsies on, so I will not, you know, really know for sure how it holds up throughout the day, but I really don't care at this point to, you know, pick and choose what mascaras I'm using, especially when I'm wearing falsies. If I'm not wearing falsies, then that's when it matters the most. But if I'm putting on false lashes, the mascara underneath it doesn't really matter to me. Oops. Unless it's one of those mascaras that is going to like drip down my face. Like nobody wants that. But outside of that, I just need a nice coat of black. So we're going to kindly ignore the mascara on my nose. What I do for that is just let it dry down a little bit, then grab a Q-tip and wipe it up. Do not touch it before that, especially if you have already applied your base makeup. Do not touch it until it dries, or else, you know, your whole makeup will be ruined. So for lashes, I received the Glamnetic Glam Lashes in Babygirl, and this is what they look like if my camera would focus. So they're really, really cute, really fun and flirty in my opinion. And as the name suggests, they are magnetic. And I also have the Glamnetic Liquid Magnetic Eyeliner in Black Magic, which also is from BoxyCharm and the same brand. So these go together. So what I'm going to do is line my lash line with the liquid liner. Don't really know how you're supposed to use this. I don't know if you're supposed to let it dry. So let's read some instructions. It says shake before each use. Glide brush tip along the upper lash line only, making an even line as thick as lash magnets. And then it says for optimal results, apply Glamnetic lashes onto liner once 80% dry. Do not use the liner on waterline or lower lash line. So I am going to apply the line, let it dry for a little bit. It says when it's 80% dry, then you apply your lashes. So let's see how this goes. I am gonna speed this part up. I'll leave it on, but I'll speed it up just because I really don't know what I'm doing at the moment, but we're gonna figure it out. So I feel like the right eye is pretty dry and it's safe for me to go ahead and apply the lash. But before I do, I want you guys to see, if you look closely, you can see the magnets within the lash, which is pretty cool. So I'm assuming if you do need to trim it in any way, obviously you would trim, you know, in between the magnets. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick this on and see what happens. Okay, that's on. Question is it gonna go anywhere? I feel like if you're someone who struggles with lashes but you can master liner, this would be perfect for you. All you gotta do is draw the line, wait a little bit, pop them on, and they're good to go. Again, I don't know how they're gonna hold up throughout the day, but the process of putting it on is super simple and kind of feeling that. So that was good. Now I'm gonna jump into the skin. Of course, I need to prep and prime. I did my skincare this morning, but I do have a skincare product for underneath the eyes that I do want to use. This is from Elmis. This is their Pro-Collagen Eye Revive Mask. And the reason I chose to use this today is because it says that you can use it underneath makeup. So why not add a little bit more hydration to the under eyes? So let me get this open. So this is what the packaging looks like. Again, this is the Elmis Pro-Collagen Eye Revive Mask. And again, you can wear it underneath your makeup. I have never used this, so I'm interested myself to see what this is actually going to do. According to the box, it is an anti-wrinkle multi-use eye mask. It's for fine lines, tired looking eyes. It brightens, rejuvenates, and hydrates. So I'm interested in the hydration portion just because, you know, I really like hydrated under eyes, and the more hydrated your under eyes are, the better your concealer and stuff will lay. So let's go ahead and pop a small amount of this on. So this is what the formula looks like. It's yellow in color. It's got like a jelly texture. And I'm just gonna put a little bit underneath my eyes. Definitely cooling. I feel a cooling sensation, nothing irritating to my skin, which is great because my under eyes can be a bit sensitive. So I just took a risk just now, but Elma's products have been pretty good for me. I've loved their Superfood veggie mask. Oh, that was my favorite when I got that in BoxyCharm. So it's definitely among the trusted brands that I would purchase. So next we have skin prep. We have to prepare the skin for the foundation and all the makeup that we're going to be applying to it today. So I have the Elmis Superfood Glow Priming Moisturizer. It is a kombucha glow moisturizer, and again also a primer. So the main use of this today is going to be for the priming aspect, not so much the moisturizing, because I did do my skincare this morning. I've been loving glowy primers these days. Regardless of my skin, I just feel like it's more beneficial than going in with so many like blurring, or not so much blurring, but mattifying products. Glowy products are what I tend to go for the most. So let's go ahead and apply this I really don't know how much of this I'm gonna actually need, but I'm just gonna do, you know, what I see fit. Start with a little bit so we don't overdo it, and then I'm gonna rub this in. Very glowy. Has a smell to it. It smells pretty good actually, to be honest. And I'm just gonna rub this everywhere. It kind of has like that lotion feel to it, very lightweight. As you guys can see, my skin is like already starting to glow. I mean, it was a little glowy before that, don't get me wrong, because of my skincare products, but it's just adding on to the glow, if you will. You can definitely tell that it is a moisturizing product, and it feels really, really nice and good on the skin. So moving on to foundation now, I am going to be using what I already have in my collection, but I am going to be using a new sponge. Today's sponge comes from the Makeup Eraser. If you guys are familiar with that brand, they came out with like a cloth that pretty much wipes off your makeup with just water, and then you just wash it in your washing machine, and that's about it. But they have this sponge that I received in my BoxyCharm as well, and so I'm going to use it today. It was pretty interesting when I went to wet it. It gave me the vibe of the Morphe sponge, but just a little bit softer in my opinion, so I'm really excited to use this. Hopefully I do like it. Now it did come with like this little ball of a case, and basically you can put this in your washing machine as well. So if that's something you would like to do, then maybe this sponge would be right up your alley. But I'm gonna see how it applies my makeup because that's what matters most to me. Now I'm gonna apply my foundation. Like I said, I'm not using a new foundation. I'm just using what I already have in my collection. And today I am mixing, or have mixed, the Nars Soft Matte Concealer. Not concealer. What am I talking about? I mixed the Nars Soft Matte Foundation with a little bit of this one from Lancome because it is in a lighter shade. And I wanted to see if basically I could get my perfect match, because again, as I've said in previous videos, I really love the Nars foundation, but I just got it a shade too dark. Or at least at the time I was a little bit more tan, and now that tan has gone away and your girl is pretty pale, so I have to make it work. I have to say that as I am blending this foundation in with this sponge, I'm really loving the way it works. I love the coverage that it's allowing me to get with the product. It doesn't seem to be soaking up a lot of the foundation, which some sponges can do, but it just has like the right amount of bounce, if you will, and I really like it. So far, I like it. This sponge is a go for me. I feel like it doesn't take much for me to determine whether or not I'm gonna like a sponge. It's like either it's not soft enough or it's too stiff, which is the same thing essentially, right? So either it's not soft enough or it's too soft. Sometimes too soft of a sponge doesn't work well either, but this is like the happy medium. As you guys can see, it's pretty soft and bouncy, and it just applies everything nicely. So I think I found me a new sponge, if I'm being honest. Alright you guys, so I finished applying the foundation. I did have to take off this lash because it was lifting, which isn't really a good thing, but nonetheless I just reapplied some liner. I'm waiting for it to dry, but in the meantime, let's move into concealer really quickly. I am going to use the same sponge I used for the foundation and continuing to see how I feel about it, but so far I really do like that sponge. So I'm just going to use the Too Faced Born This Way concealer in Warm Beige. I feel like I need a lot more of a lighter concealer just to balance everything out, even though I mixed two different foundations hoping that it would, you know, better match me. I don't think I did such a good job, so I'm just gonna apply this, and hopefully this will help to balance everything out. So I am using a lot more concealer than I typically would, but hopefully, like I said, it works out for the better because I'm really liking this look. The tones, it's the tones for me. So let's go ahead and start blending that out with the sponge. So before we move into our final two products for today's video, I do want to do two things. First is spray my face down with the Colourpop setting mist. This just helps lock in everything that we've done so far. And I've said before, I'm sure, that I like to set my face down at least 3 times throughout doing my makeup because it really just helps the longevity of the whole makeup look in the first place, and ain't nobody trying to put in all this hard work just for it to melt off in a matter of an hour or two. So this does help with that process. So I'm gonna go ahead and just, sit here and do this, let it dry down a little bit, tap on top of it with my sponge, and then we can roll over to the next product. So I feel like at this point everything is looking glowy, it's looking healthy, it's looking radiant, but it's not looking greasy. I can definitely tell that the primer really helped, make my skin look this way, because without it, I'm pretty sure it would have been a little less, shiny and things of that nature, especially since we did use a mattifying foundation, which we all know is pretty matte. So now I'm going to jump into cream contour before I jump into the next product, which this isn't new. This is the Huda Beauty Tantour, and I'm just using my Sephora number 47 brush just to apply this. I really prefer this brush to put on my cream products, especially my cream contours. And I wanted something more natural today, nothing too intense, so I do like this specific shade for that. And again, this is in Fair. So I'm just going to apply this in all my usual areas, and I just use this brush just to kind of blend it out, but also to apply it. Alright guys, so originally I had 2 more things I wanted to use on camera with you guys today, which was a tool and an actual product that go hand in hand, both from e.l.f. However, if you guys look at the color of this blush, I did not put into consideration that my eyes are very cool toned, and I don't think it's going to look right with this warm toned blush. So I'll be sure to use this in my next video. I promise I will pull it out and use it regardless of what the video is about, so that you guys can get my opinion on that product as well. I did order it a while back and haven't got around to using it, and I really wanted to use it today, but cool tone, warm tone, not really my vibe. So promise next video you guys can catch that. I did try their CC cream, so if you haven't seen that video, that will be up in the cards as well as down in the description box. But I think for now I'm just going to finish off the rest of my makeup really quickly, which is just the powder products, and then we can come back and kind of give a mini review on the new products that I did use in today's video. So I will be right back. I'm going to finish this off and then we can talk a little bit more. Alright beauties, so this is the finished look. This is everything complete. Like I said, all I did was apply my powder products, and honestly I feel like it all looks so good. I'm really impressed, and I'm happy that it came out the way that it did, because truthfully this was definitely outside of my comfort zone. You guys know I do not play with cool tone shadows too often, but I love the way this came out. Now let's go ahead and jump into some speed reviews. So I'm going to try and do this in order in which I used the products. So of course we're going to start with the palette, which is the baroque is how I'm assuming you say it. This palette, again, outside of my comfort zone, but so happy with the overall look and how the eyes just came together. I feel like they blended very nicely. The pigmentation's definitely there. The only one shadow that I kind of have a problem with, but it's also kind of expected, was this lighter shadow right here, which is called Bougie. It definitely came off very chalky to me. It's kind of like just using chalk for your eyes. So I really was not feeling this shadow, but every other shadow that I used for this look was definitely up to par. Pigmentation was there and it did not appear chalky at all. I love the overall look. As I said before, it's kind of giving galaxy vibes, and I love the way that it looks against my shirt, so that's a plus. Love this palette just as well as the other one in the collection, and Colourpop, you definitely did that. So I love this palette and I will definitely pull it out more often, especially when I'm wearing colors like this. It's a whole vibe for me. Now next was the mascara that I used, which is the It's So Big Volumizing Mascara. I don't have really anything to say about this that's bad or positive. I mean, it's just another mascara. Do I feel like it gave a little bit of volume? Yes. Am I crazy about it? I don't really know these days, honestly, because I pop on false lashes. This is just another mascara that I can use just to coat my lashes with something. It's not anything revolutionary. It's not something that I feel like you must have. I'm pretty sure you got a mascara that's very comparable to this in your collection already. So it's just okay. Now, when it comes down to the magnetic lashes, I feel like the overall concept is pretty smart and brilliant. I love the concept of it, but I don't think that it is very long lasting. I mean, as you guys know, this lash right here did come off in the middle of me doing my makeup, so who's to say how long it's actually gonna hold up. But the overall thought is pretty smart, and I think that if you're someone who is good at liner or has a steady hand, you know, well enough to do a liner, which I'm not, but you know, I made it work, then I don't see why not. Maybe there's other brands, because there are other brands out there that have magnetic lashes, but maybe this brand just isn't it. Let me know if you have tried magnetic lashes and what brand it is that you tried, and if you liked it. If you don't like it, let me know your thoughts on that. But me personally, I feel like if I didn't receive this in BoxyCharm, I probably would have never tried it. I know my mom uses magnetic lashes. Wow, can we talk today? I know my mom uses them and she loves them. She gets hers off of Amazon. So I know she's obsessed with this type of lash. But for me personally, I mean, I get it, but I don't see it being like a thing for me, if you will. Now, when it comes to the base makeup, we only used a couple of products, nothing crazy. But I do want to start with this Elmis pro-collagen mask that we use underneath the eyes. Given how radiant my skin looks right now, and as I was doing my makeup, and knowing that there was no irritation even up until this point, I think this is pretty good to use. I can't say for certain, because you guys know with skincare, those type of things take time, so I can't attest to all the claims of this product in specific, which is mostly for like fine lines, wrinkles, brightening up the dark areas and things of that nature. But it did provide an extra glow underneath my eyes, and also the concealer is sitting pretty nicely, I must say, on top of this product as well. So that is a plus. So far so good with this product, but again, I can't say too much about it just because skincare products you have to use for a good amount of time in order to give like a real accurate review of the product. But first impressions, not bad. I do like it, and I do see it being a product that I will continue to use, whether it's before makeup or even at night before I go to bed. Now, when it comes to the makeup eraser sponge, I have to say I really enjoyed using this. It's a great tool. It's super soft. It kind of gives me the Morphe sponge vibe, but a lot softer, especially with the color. Not so much the shape. The shape is a little bit different. It has like this cutoff right here, and then a flat bottom, which is nice as well. But I do love the overall, you know, texture and the bounce that it gives on the skin, and it just blended everything so nicely, so effortlessly, that I will absolutely continue to use this sponge. I've had my fair share of bad sponges, and that is definitely not one of them. Now, final product I want to talk about today is the Elmis Superfood Glowy Primer and Moisturizer. Like I said, I did do my skincare, so I did apply my SPF, my moisturizer, all of that, my serums, and then I went on top of it with this. So I didn't necessarily use it as a moisturizer. I used it more so for the priming aspect of it, and I feel like that's what I have to thank in contribution to this beautiful glow I have going on my skin. Everything just looks nice and glowy, but healthy at the same time. And this is definitely going to be a product that I'm going to be reaching for very often. I just have been so obsessed with glowy primers these days. I love a radiant, glowy face, skin look. You know, it just looks so healthy and just so natural. So I really do love that product. I have no complaints about it. It worked very well with the products I applied on top of it, as well as with the skincare products that I used prior underneath it. So overall, a great product. All right, you guys, so that brings us to the end of today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's content, as I had so much fun doing my makeup today. It just really felt good, and I feel like I'm in good spirits. You know, I started off a little nervous, unsure if I was going to really pull this off, but honestly this look came out so much better than I could have ever imagined, and I'm just really happy with it. You know, Colourpop has some great shadows and different palettes to offer, and this one is definitely no different. I feel like it's definitely the eyes for me today. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below as always. But with that being said, I am going to close out today's video here. I love you guys endlessly so much. You guys just don't even know. Continue to watch, continue to support, because I see all of you guys, and I will catch you all in my next upload.